Hey everybody, this is Perch, and this is week 6. I've lost track. Let's say week 6 of Future State. And this week they decide to go with 8 issues, so it feels like more than usual. Like, okay, hang on a second. You guys have thrown me. Suddenly doing all these videos in one. By the way, yes, I normally edit out videos when there's some kind of crazy noise, but I apologize to everybody who was listening to the crowdfunding video earlier, and something caught my throat. I do not regularly smoke, so that was just me like hacking it up. And what's even worse is that normally when something like that happens, I have a big cough, then I'll pause. I'm gonna let about 10 seconds go by. That way, when I do the editing for the video, it's very easy for me to just clip it right out. But this time, apparently I didn't tag it properly or didn't pay attention or who knows what happened. And there you go. It just went out. And so that was a nice embarrassing moment for me. That's the kind of quality nonsense you get from this channel. Very good. No, it was not a subtle shot at Zach. No, I don't even know what that exactly means. Does he cough? Is that a bit? No, that's not what was going on there. That was a legitimate cough that didn't get edited out. Anyway, let's go through these comics. This week was a bit of a tougher week, I think, for me. I did not, and I think it sums up. I'll try and do this very quickly in like a minute. The challenge with Future State, I've come to conclude, is that it kind of gets the worst of both ends. If the story is good, if the idea and the concept is really strong, then it has to be told in most cases in 2 issues. And so it winds up feeling very rushed. It feels like you got just kind of a hint of something cool that might take place and then it's gone. Several of these stories really could have benefited from more. In particular, I'm thinking Swamp Thing, the Wonder Woman by Yara Flor, Green Lantern. A few of these other issues would have been far better. Justice League as well. They need to be 4 issues or 5 or 6, whatever, in that range. And then others, there isn't enough content for arguably even 1 issue. And so then things get weirdly stretched out for no apparent reason. It's kind of, if the story is bad, then it's interrupting the comic and you're getting more than you want out of it. If the story is good, you're not getting enough. It's like, it's kind of in the worst of both worlds there. But let's go through these comics. This time we'll go through it somewhat alphabetically. So first off, Green Lantern. This has 3 stories in it, so nice and big. This is our first story, our quote unquote kind of prime story, follows John Stewart as he is in deep trouble from the Kuns. The word doesn't sound right. Anyway, this is an interesting bit. We get John Stewart is on the ropes. He's basically trying to stall for time to allow kind of this rescue mission to take place. But the Kuns are being very barbaric and kind of overrunning things. I like that we're using the Kuns. I like several nods to a lot of things. I like, for as sad as it is, that Jeffrey Thorne brings out sprocking. It's sprocking dies. I mean, I know that sounds super, super weird probably, but if you read Legion of Superheroes, some of these titles in the 90s, you remember these terms. And it's nice to see that back. It gives me good memories. This issue kind of has a surprise ending as Orion, who looks very, very different, appears in these Future State Orion. I don't really like the design for Future State Orion, but that's okay. It fits with what is going on. And we basically get John Stewart, the Sword of Orion. We get some good on-brand stuff for John Stewart, talking about how it's not the ring, it's the soldier, and that this fits him. So we're seeing his little corner of the universe. Tom Rainey's art is rougher in this. I don't know from the first issue. It's degraded somewhat. I don't know if I don't know if there was a time crunch or something else, but there's a definite drop from the first issue to the second. But still, all in all, I'm fine with this story. Our second story focuses on, the youngest Green Lantern, and this story is for all intents and purposes kind of, I don't want to say meaningless, but it's like, she's stuck on Mogo, and it's interesting in the sense that she's not technically a Green Lantern because she hacked this glove, and so she's got a little bit of a difference. But it's really just she wanders around. There's some monsters. She's able to fend the monsters off, and there's not enough here. She's been 52 days in the void. It's just unlike the Jessica Cruz story in the previous issue. There's just not a lot goes on. Our final story is Robert Venditti, Dexter Soy are doing the Hal Jordan. What's up with him? And he thinks he's maybe the last Green Lantern. He's basically traveling through space in order to try and locate things. We see a Sinestro Corps. We see the Orange Lanterns. We see a few different kind of enemies attack the Manhunters. It's all fine, and ultimately the ship kind of crashes here on Oa, and the Lantern appears destroyed. Everything's in ruin. And then Joe Mullen from Far Sector shows up and says, "Where were you when the corpse needed you?" I'm not a Joe Mullen fan. I'm not. I don't particularly care for the character. I really don't care. I don't like how DC's deciding to, basically anoint her as, she's the coolest character. She's the strongest, the best, the smartest, the detective. She could do everything. I hate that type of character. Maybe there's something cool there, but a lot of the things that I think make the character charming and good in Far Sector, they haven't carried over into these other series. So I'm not a big fan of that, but this story leads into Green Lantern in a couple months by Jeffrey Thorne. So we'll see how that goes and how it picks up on it. But a little bit more showing and less telling here. But anyway, and I think this kind of ends on a down note, which will be a recurring theme through this week of, here's a hero who should have done more but didn't. I mean, yeah, okay. Again, it's kind of like the video I did earlier today about deconstruction. You gotta just be careful. You deconstruct too much, there's nothing left when you're all done. Next issue coming up is Justice League. This issue is it's fine. This issue gives us like a Justice League Dark and a Justice League story. This comic is really hammers home the fact that they basically the White Martians have impersonated the Justice League. They're up to shenanigans. The Justice League has been banished to this other dimensional kind of Earth. They've got to figure out a way to get off of it. The Flash does it. We get a little bit more about the relationship between the Flash and Andy, the Aquawoman here, which we really didn't get. There's some awkward moments. The purpose of this story is basically to inform that the Justice League should get to know each other, shouldn't keep secret identities, should have a relationship. It was a bad plan not to. And so the unfortunate part of it was the threat of the White Martians and everything in the first issue were interesting, and I liked kind of how that when all was put together. And in this issue, that gets kind of dismissed. I mean, it's a backdrop. The Justice League shows up. They fairly easily defeat the White Martians. And there's a lesson in here of like, if you knew me, you would know me. And that's how the analogy is here. These people are impersonating us. And if we had a better relationship, then they wouldn't have been able to do that. And now we have to learn to trust each other. And it's a bit on the nose, I guess, is a way to put it. So I enjoyed the first issue quite a bit. I enjoyed the second issue quite a bit less. And, so we're saying, who do we invite to this our new Justice League? And we see some various people here that they can invite to the new Justice League. I don't know. This was a much softer outing from Josh Williamson, who I think has been a stronger writer at different times. It comes a little hollow. The backup by Ram V for Justice League Dark, again, is a little bit, I'd say a little bit better. It's a stronger show this time. Kind of goes into some of the sacrifice. But the funny thing about this is this issue of Justice League Dark plays out like a Justice League Dark story. You imagine that this is, in a year or two, this is what the Justice League Dark would be doing if the series just continued. So it didn't need to be future state, I guess, is what I'm saying here. It's fine. I think Justice League Dark's interesting. We get a big sacrifice at the end, but it's really on brand for Justice League Dark. Moving on, we get the Kara Zor-El Superwoman book. This issue actually, I think, is stronger than the first one. I didn't particularly care for the first one. The second issue is a little bit better. We get a little bit more of the threat. We get a little bit more of what's under her protection and kind of this new territory, this new home that she's helped create, and this new ecosystem that she's made. We see some sacrifice. We see, Basically Supergirl leading by, or Superwoman, one of those. Superwoman, officially Superwoman. She is kind of leading by example about how to embrace hope and how to, basically need to not be afraid, live in peace, cooperate. It's a fine story. It wraps itself up. This is probably the only one I've seen so far that does well with the done in two kind of idea. We continue to fast forward through Superwoman's death, and we learn a little bit about what she is. Nothing really new is developed here, but it's a fine enough story. I'll have to go back and read the first one to see if it ages a little bit better, I view it stronger now. But the second issue, it's fine. Robin Eternal. We're definitely heavy into the Magistrate. This is basically, Robin has been dipped in Lazarus Pit goo, and this isn't good because the goo is going to control this resin is going to potentially control him. It's going to be bad stuff. Spoiler is helping him kind of break into this. We get some light brainwashing of old Tim, and he of course breaks free of the brainwashing, and then he's all right, and he managed to save the day. And this is a fine enough story. It seemingly ends with the death of Robin, of Tim, but then he hand comes out of the water, he survives, and never the end. This is one of those stories where it probably gets too jumbled up with two issues. Again, I think the first issue covered a lot of ground. The second issue just tries to rapidly put it all back in the box as fast as it can. It's not bad. It just you lose track of what's going on at some point, and it starts to feel a little bit hollow. The same thing is true of the next issue, Superman Wonder Woman. This comic, the background about this is Superman works too hard and should take a day off. And so basically, we get various kind of Superman today. Superman, by the way, John Kent is drawn super weird. He's drawn like he's the new Superman, the Asian Superman from that New 52 book. And sometimes he's super bulky, and sometimes he's lightweight. Like the art's kind of all over the place. Yara Fleur is drawn in many cases in the same poses as the book. It's like somebody gave her the cheat sheets for the Wonder Woman Future State book, because you'll notice a lot of the poses are exactly the same, like exactly the same, which is a little weird. But anyway, it culminates with a race around Pluto, whereas Wonder Woman's trying to help get the sun back to normal, so John Kent has his powers back. Superman ultimately punches the sun, and that's good. And then he takes a break, because it's been revealed that he was like having to shoot a laser beam into a black hole every day, and he needs a rest. So Wonder Woman takes that responsibility. He buys coffee and breakfast, and they sit on the ice and have a good time. She's got those thighs. It's going to stick to that ice. I'm saying it's going to have to be really painful when she stands up. Anyway, that's what you take away from that. Teen Titans. Teen Titans is probably it's an interesting book in that this is really kind of revealing how did it come to this? How did it all go bad with the Teen Titans Academy? There's a lot of awkward moments between the survivors of the Teen Titans, along with the Dick Grayson and Red X, and they keep flashing forward and back. It's everybody blames Dick. He needs to take responsibility. He did bad. He needs to fix things. And this all kind of leads to a big battle with the Four Horsemen: war, pestilence, death, and famine. Famine being Wally West, and yet very, very basically very familiar looking characters. It's weird how they care more about Wally West than some of their other teammates who are now evil-fied, but that's fine. Anyway, so the plan is to kind of get the Four Horsemen into this thing. How the Four Horsemen, which are clearly going to be a bigger threat for the Titans. They're setting this up. Maybe this is, I don't know. In terms of a threat, I think you got a lot of villains from Titans lore while you're going this direction. I'm not entirely sure, but that's fine. So we get what appears to be some various deaths. It's it's a little unclear why. I mean, Roundhouse is dead here. He's been taken over as Pestilence, And anyway, we get basically the Teen Titans. They stage this big fight. There's a lot of kind of sacrifices being made and people getting chomped, and it's unclear. Like Bunker maybe is dead. It's not entirely sure. Probably is dead. But Red X basically removes his hood. You're supposed to know who this guy is, but it's who is it? Is it Damian? Is it we don't know. A shadow version of Dick Grayson, maybe. Nobody completely knows. Anyway, he uses the heroes, the Dial H dial, and basically brings back some various spirits. They're able to kind of, take out the horseman, but then Raven kind of sucks the darkness inside of her and gets Shazam to take her into the Rock of Eternity. And that's kind of a downer of an ending. It's kind of a recurring thing. We're just all getting down endings. Then finally, Dark Detective, which is our detective book. Mariko Tamaki. This is following Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne is trying to uncover kind of how this all happened with the magistrate and everything else. There's some very nice visuals in this book. Looks very pretty. Tamaki is kind of trying to do, I would say, detective light. Like the mysteries that are being solved are not very good mysteries, and they're not very detailed. We get a brief meeting between Bruce Wayne and Jace Fox, but it comes and goes. It's not the fight that is promised. We basically get that for 2 pages. This brief little face off, and Bruce Wayne is saying, I'm not feeling, not my favorite feeling, eyeballing the guy who now has all my gear. Again, you're friends with tons of members of the Justice League. You can't go tap on them and say, hey, there's some new guy. I don't have any money. Anyway, this plot is weird. So Bruce is kind of hanging out, and he discovers that shocking, the magistrates are fascists and they prioritize property over people. Okay, sure. I mean, they're running around shooting everybody and arresting them. I don't think that's a big surprise. But anyway, Bruce gets lectured by a young girl about how they talk about fixing the world. They're too lazy to fix what's wrong with the world. I'm tired of seeing our superheroes lectured, especially people like Batman who've died multiple times, but he needs to sit there and take a lecture about not helping enough. I mean, come on, you're gonna. Where are you going? We've seen very little of this woman other than she shows up every now and then, check on her dad, and presumably she is. It's such a tired cliche at this point. Let's lecture our elders, but when your elders are saving the planet on a regular basis from the Legion of Doom, you just sound like an idiot. But anyway, so it's revealed that bad news. The magistrate has been scoping out this little safe house he is. They're coming for Bruce, so better run. Okay. And then our backup story finally is the Huntress it's Grifter, and they run into Huntress. Huntress is angry. There's a bit of a fight. Grifter has been working with Luke Fox, the brother of Jace, and just as basically we're trying to make a big escape, we kind of reveal that Luke Fox has basically been working with the magistrate and is about to hand over the Huntress. That's kind of been it's been a scam that he basically made a deal to get to the Huntress. So anyway, so he's a bad guy. He does a heel turn. Grifter helps the Huntress then escape, and Grifter is taken in. But we set up that Luke Fox is bad. So I mean, this of course sets up the conflict of we have Jason Todd and Luke Fox working with the magistrate, and the various other members of the Bat family working against it. Okay, so that's our issues this week. Like I said at the beginning, a couple of these issues are moving way too fast, and ultimately it's a detriment of their own story, I think, to be done in 2. Other stories seem weirdly drawn out. The magistrate stuff continues to feel super tired. I don't know. The fascist who is the fascist storylines I'm done with. I don't need them anymore. Do something new. All in all, this was a not as good a week as we've seen in the past. I continue to like some of the universe world building they've done with Green Lantern. No, that's not because I've had the chat with Jeff Thorne. I legitimately like the Legion vibes it's getting. I didn't like the Hal Jordan lecture at the end, or did I like the other lectures that we got in the other books? Just let our heroes do cool hero things. What are you doing? But I don't know. The other problem is these books are all downers. Like they're feeling very much the same, because it's like, it's the future is dark and terrible. Like that can't be the gimmick. It's like, we're going to deconstruct and it's bad. The future is bad. That's maybe why I like some of the stories I did. I liked the Aquaman story because it felt like optimistic. I liked the you could say that the Green Lantern story was bad because a bunch of the characters are all messed up, but there's a feeling of optimism because Jon Stewart is going to show that he is a warrior. I mean, there's good elements in there, but a lot of these stories are dystopian crap town is what's going on. So I don't know. I'm anxious to just get on to March and try and get some good stories out of the mix. And this gimmick is feeling tired now. So I guess we got 2 more weeks of it to go. So, hey, there you go. But what about you? What future state issues did you read? What did you like? What did you hate? What was your feeling? Maybe that's why I like Superwoman better this week, because it's like, at least this story ended, relatively optimistically. I don't know. I don't need a happy ending. I don't need the same bad ending. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what I'm saying. Let me know in the comments below what you like, what you dislike. I promise I won't cough for a while and then give you an awkward silence. If I died, how would the video have been uploaded? And riddle me that. Anyway, thanks for listening.